So update 1.20 or 1.20 is on its way. It's coming out on the 1st of March, which will be on Wednesday. At least that's for the EU server, so I'm guessing it's going to be roughly the same time, maybe a day earlier for NA, because it usually is, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Either way, we are getting quite a few things with this update, being that we get one new map, which is Oyster Bay. I mean, I played one game on the CT, and it was okay, but like, it kind of just went 15-5 and just that was it. So, you know, just like the rest of WOT Tanks. But as you can see, it is the typical WOT Tank style of map where you have 3 corridors. You have 1 corridor up here, you have 1 through the middle, and you have 1 down the bottom. So, yes, very fun. I mean, the images don't even really show you much. Like, this is the top corridor up here, which you can actually go hold down either side. In heavy tanks, which is just going to be painful to play, but there you go. But besides the new map, we are getting some map balancing changes, starting with Airfield. Thank God. It has taken way too long for this. I remember this was going into the super test like maybe a year ago, and it's taken that long to actually make changes to Airfield. We'll see if it changes. I mean, I didn't play the CT like at all. I don't usually play the CT that much. Like, I play like maybe 1 or 2 games and be like, yeah, sure, it's changed something, but I usually just wait until the live server happens. But as you can see up here, if we go into Strat Sketch to show you, this is this area over here. So right now, it looks like this, where you'll go up. Obviously, this is spawning from the red team spawn over here. So we're going up through here like this, and this is the main location that we're speaking about. So you'll go up here to the right, and then you can go and shoot the middle, and most people know about this position. Whereas now, after these changes, they've given you a more free route up to it, but it seems to be less powerful because you can't really, like, destroy the mid as much, because this position over here looks very, very exposed, like really exposed, if you want to go and actually shoot the mid properly. So I think this is a decent change. Like, this is a very dramatic change. But they've also changed down here as well, where people will hide, so that you can actually get through a lot easier to escape as well. Because it was a case of that like once you would lose this area here, it was kind of like you just have to either go this way and die, because people pushing through here will kill you, or you go the other way and die to everyone else that is camping at the back in the TDs. So at least now, like, you can kind of fall back. Maybe go hold down here to try and stop people from progressing through as well. So I think this is an okay change. I don't know what they've done to the other side because, well, I can't see the other side, but it looks similar to how it is. As you can see, they've also added a bunker here. Or sorry, not a bunker, a hangar here. Aircraft hangar there. Yeah, I think these are decent changes. The only problem that I'm having, that I can see, is that still the TDs at the back of the map are going to just dump on people. Which means that once you win the location, you then lose, as always. So, yeah. I mean, it doesn't really look like much has changed, but at least the fighting for the heavies might be a little bit better. Not to mention, it's a hell of a lot taller now. So artillery hopefully shouldn't just bombard the heavies constantly, which is the most annoying thing about Airfield. As you can see, the middle has also changed. Obviously, we are talking about the mid over here. It's changed a tiny amount, like a very, very small amount, but you can also see just how much this has changed over this side. You can also see over on the right-hand side a little bit. Hopefully they do actually show the right-hand side in a second, but you can see that that's changed quite a bit on Airfield. So this will be a lot easier to shoot from because this goes out, gets extended out a lot more. And also it looks like there's a nice, easy way to drop down from up here. But overall, mid, not really changed too much. Sure, it looks a little bit flatter, so it might be easier to get across. But besides that, not too much has changed at the very middle of the map. And you'll be pleased to know they've added some planes on the runway. I mean, they've also moved this rock back a little bit and added some more rocks. So light tanks are now going to be able to actually move across here, and I don't know how well covered, like how much cover this provides, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Overall, I think it's an okay change, but as I said before, with the starting off bit here, they're not changing the back. So TDs are still just going to farm you as soon as you try and push forward to do anything in the game, which is just a problem. So now steps has been changed quite drastically. Like I won't lie. So right here we are speaking about over in the A234 region of the map. As you can see, this is how it was before. People would always go up here and snipe. It's a very, very good position because it's very hard for you to get spotted out of it. A lot like how on the opposite side is very, very hard for you to get spotted out of it, and it makes it very hard for you to push once you win a flank. But now they've decided, in all their wisdom, to make this the ultimate camping spot. And I've added rocks, bushes, everything over this side of the map. That is a drastic change. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you can get all the way up here and into these types of bushes. I would expect you can if you go all the way up and around, maybe. But we'll see. If they've blocked this off somehow, then that's fine. And like if it's just, say, one bush here, here, you know, that's absolutely fine because that just allows a little bit of cover. And it's not like, you know, they would just hide behind this with infinite bushes and snipe everyone. So we'll have to see how that goes. As well as that, speaking about this area over here, you can see that this has become a little bit more covered, let's say. So when you're defending and people are approaching from this side, you can go hold down right here and actually shoot people that are coming across. This will allow you to obviously be hold down a lot better, as well as just being able to survive, because what would usually happen is once you say you were like actually sniping over here, saying at Leo 1 or something at the start, and you were sniping everyone that was over in this area here. Say you went here right at the start, but then absolutely nobody on your team went this side. You know, you would just think, okay, well, there's no point me pushing all the way up to this. I might as well just go and sit here and wait, get them spotted, and as they're crossing here or here, you can then get shots across. At least now you have a little bit more cover. And they've changed mines as well. Wonderful. So, first spot that we're going to be speaking about is this spot over here. As you can see, beforehand, it was very open. There was nothing here. At least now you do have a rock and some slight terrain to assist you from going all the way from the start over here. So if you spawned in the southern base, you would go all the way around here and then like this. At least now you have a little bit of terrain sticking out here, and you do have a bigger rock right here. So you are getting a little bit more cover. Now speaking about the middle of the map more, we are discussing over this side here. As you can see, this has been slightly raised to stop people shooting you from this position and this position if you are trying to go hold down here to shoot people as they're coming up, or even just to get return shots on people that are shooting over from here. So you have a little bit more cover in the middle, a little bit if you spawn in the south. Not a lot more, but enough. Over on the right hand side of the map, over in this area here, you will see that you have a new house here to cover you, so you could go and side scrape on this and shoot across, or even if you are losing this area, you could side scrape on the left hand side and shoot across. Alternatively, if you are attacking from the north, then you can come down here and side scrape either on this behind the castle wall, which is going to help you out quite a bit. So I think that this is fine overall. It gives them a little bit more cover on both sides, whereas you don't need to kind of, because the problem with this was that anyone that was sitting at the back here, like say you had some you had a tank destroyer here, and then you would have the heavy tank that is here, this guy would just die. Like this guy is dead because he can go all the way behind the bushes at the back here and free farm him for days. Like there is no way the heavy tank survives this. Whereas at least now this castle wall protrudes out a little bit. You've got a house here. So this position over here is no longer going to be as good, and it allows the heavies to actually try and push through a little bit more. So I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. But it also provides a little bit of cover from camping TDs at the north as well. Because if you are trying to push through this, like so, as soon as you get to around about here, they can usually just start farming you. So at least then you can go like behind this bit here and try and go around or something like that. Now, still talking about the same position, the middle of the map used to be that you could basically poke over here and shoot anyone that was trying to fight down in this area here. Now it looks like that has changed quite a bit. It looks like, yes, you can still poke over it, but it's not as kind of friendly to do so. Because you see how this was like a kind of a little bit of a slope, and then you could, you know, sometimes wedge your gun down low enough to be able to shoot it. It looks like now this is a straight drop and you'll probably die. And also that is a lot steeper of a descent once you go over the certain point. So you might actually see people dying from this quite a bit more. Now, speaking about the people that are usually camped at the back here, they have added a building here, as you can see, to stop the TDs from interfering as much with the gameplay of the heavy tanks that are on this corner, which is good because that's bloody annoying. So hopefully we can actually have like a proper heavy tank fight over here now without the interference of the tank destroyers from either side. Hopefully. There's probably still a few spots and it's probably still going to be annoying, but it's a little bit better at least. So next up we have tournaments and challenges in your garage. Now what this is that there is going to be a new tournaments tab in the garage itself. So once you load in, you don't have to go to the website or anything like that. You can go straight ahead and sign up for a tournament in the garage, in-game itself. This will probably get a few more people playing tournaments. Unfortunately, yes, tournaments are good for free-to-play players if they are good enough to go and earn some gold. But usually it's not like extortionate amounts of gold that you'll gain. If you're very, very good, yes, you can play tournaments and, you know, go and win loads of gold. But for the average player, sure, you might earn a little bit of gold, but not that much. The rewards aren't amazing, let's say. But still, people can have the option now at least. Now, I don't actually know what this challenges part is, whether or not that's like the CC stuff, where the CCs can actually like put out challenges to their community and stuff like that, and you can join it. I know a few community contributors have been doing that, so we'll have to see. But yeah, this doesn't really say much about challenges, so we'll have to just wait and see. And now for probably what most people are here to see, the vehicle rebalancing, a new iteration. So what exactly is changing with the vehicles? Well, the Centurion Action 10 is getting 4K DPM. Yes, the Centurion Action 10 is getting a substantial buff. And they say that Tier 9 and Tier 8 vehicles, subtle but effective improvements. No wargaming, this is a straight up buff that is making the tank absolutely broken in the gun department. I don't know about you, but I feel like them constantly buffing DPM to the point where more and more tanks are now getting 4,000 DPM is making the games faster for no reason at all. Like, we shouldn't have 4,000 DPM. 4K DPM should not be a thing. Like, I remember when heavy tanks were heavy tanks and they were slow. They were slow, but they had, you know, armor, a few weak spots now and again, apart from like the IS-7. That was kind of like the main outlier, but it wasn't super fast, right? So it kind of made up for it. And then you had the mouse as well, you know. Every single tank had a drawback. What Wargaming seem to be doing at the moment, and I don't know why, is just buffing every single tank to the point where it just goes from good to exceptional, and then a few patches later, they're just going, oh, we've made a mistake. And then bringing it back down, and then bringing it back down even more. Case in point, the AMX M454. Now, I loved this tank before it got buffed, okay? I thought it wasn't a good tank, right? But I liked it because it was just kind of a bit different. You know, it kind of felt like an actual heavy tank, and It looked like a heavy tank. It had weaknesses. It had cupolas. It had weak spots. And it wasn't good, okay? And then they buffed it to the extreme. So in patch 1.17.1, this tank was absolute poo-poo. It was awful. Nobody played this thing. As I said, I liked it just because it looked cool. Not because it was a good tank, okay? You can like a tank and it can be absolutely awful. And that's fine, as long as you know it is an awful tank. Once 1.18 came round, Wargaming decided to buff this thing. So, as you can see, 1.18, they buffed the DPM, the dispersion on the move, the tank traverse, the turret traverse, all of that. They gave it some more health, which was a welcome change, because at the end of the day, this is a super heavy tank. Like, this isn't... Although it's not necessarily like a super, super heavy tank. It is a heavy tank. But, like, just look at it, right? You wouldn't say that this is just a normal heavy tank, right? This is a big boy, right? So I feel like, 2,400 health was actually very, very good. And then they thought, well, maybe we've buffed this a little bit too much because people were getting outrageous DPGs in it. And so they nerfed it in 1.18.1. What they did instead of doing the obvious, which would have been just give it a little bit of a DPM nerf, like maybe go back to, I don't know, let's go with, if it's the big gun, it should probably have a little bit less DPM than the small gun, which would make sense, right? No. We'll nerf the top speed and remove the health buff. What? So now, not only is this tank slower than it was in 1.17, with the same armor, I might add, the exactly same armor model, it still has weak spots. It still can be penned at the front. It is not like some impenetrable tank. They've just made this thing even slower than it was before. But now, 1.20, 1.20 has arrived. And it is getting this nerf. For those of you that aren't aware, I'm just going to put these side by side. Now, on the left-hand side, we have 1.17.1. The dispersion values are pretty awful. Now, the moving and the tank traverse ones are kind of manageable. They're annoying, but they're manageable. What they've done in 1.20 is now nerf the tank to the point where it needs V-stab. Otherwise, this is just disgusting. 0.14 turret traverse is awful. And this is pre-buff on the left and nerfed on the right. It gets worse dispersion on the move. Sure, the DPM is a little bit better. I don't know why they needed to, buff the DPM so much, but there you go. It goes slower, has the same hit points, has an awful, awful gun, and just has a little bit more DPM. They've actually managed to nerf the tank to worse than it was before it even got buffed. So what they are actually saying is, we saw that tank was performing very badly. What we're going to do, instead of buffing it, we'll nerf it. And the best thing is, they nerfed the AMX-65T. It was already an absolute sewage tank. And now, I don't know what goes below that. The Centurion Action 10 is getting buffed to the point where it is now a god tier DPM monster. Nearly, it's like on par with the SDB1, the 907, like DPM wise, 121B. It might actually have more DPM than the 121B, to be fair. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, it is mental. I don't know why they keep doing this. The RHM Panzerwagen is getting a buff. Sure, fine, whatever. I don't think you're going to change this tank. I don't think that a gun buff is going to make this tank any better, to be honest. It's just too big. It's got like hardly any camo. But sure, whatever. I mean, it's getting an entire second knocked off its reload, so maybe it'll be a good tank for DPM wise now. The T57 Heavy is getting a buff, which is nice to see. It gets a little bit of a reverse speed buff, which is good. And the aim time is coming down as well. as well as its gun dispersion movements and whatnot. So Rhino is also getting a buff. It's apparently getting a little bit more frontal turret armor. So it is now about 300 effective here on either side of the gun. You still have the little pyramid on top of the tank. How did it look like in 1.19? So it goes from about 280, 270, 280 to around about 300. 310 to 300. Okay, sure. It's still not going to stop 340 heat. The tank is still absolutely poo in regards to that. Like, you are just going to get absolutely demolished still in this tank. And then there's some mid-tier buffs. The Tiger P is getting a nice little buff. I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can read all of these for yourself if you would like to. I don't really play mid-tier, so, you know, I'm only really interested in the higher tier, but, you know, I'd be here all day if I went through every single one of these. And as you can see, the overpowered, the overperforming high-tier vehicles, carefully measured changes. No, you didn't do any carefully measured changes. You nerfed it into a worse state than it already was when you needed a buff. But we've already spoken about that. The Progetto is getting nerfed again. I don't know why. I don't know why they keep nerfing this thing. They have a genuine hatred for the Progetto 65. This tank is not OP. It wasn't overperforming when it got nerfed the first time. Okay? People were just enjoying it. The reason why so many people were playing it was because it was new. And then all of a sudden, loads of people are playing the Progetto 65. We better nerf it. You just brought the tank out. What do you expect people to do? And then people were saying the Progetto is the most popular tier 10 tank. Okay. And its popularity continues to grow. Right, that is not a reason to nerf the tank. If people are enjoying a tank and finding a tank nice to use, why are you nerfing that? People are having fun in our game, and we do not like that. That's what it sounds like. The vehicle is in the top 3 in terms of damage dealt in all tier 10 medium tanks. What's the other 3? What is the other 2? And where does it rank? You saying this and then not providing any information to back that up? That means nothing. And then they're going to nerf the standard P. What they are nerfing about the Progetto is the dispersion. Again, this thing, the Progetto 65 already has absolutely awful dispersion. Even if you put an IRM and a V-stab on this thing, okay, it is not that good. And now they're going to nerf it again. The E3 is getting a nerf in all the wrong ways. Its aiming time is being increased. Its reload time is being increased. Its view range is being decreased in, yes, from 390 to 370 S. Now, I don't know what the S stands for in view range, but we'll go with it. And its HP is being reduced as well. So they are not touching the lower plate issue, where half the lower plate is just an RNG fiesta, where if you even aim at it and it goes a little bit high, a little bit low, a little bit left, a little bit right, it won't matter because it will just randomly bounce because it hits a spot that's like 400 millimeters thick. Or they're not even touching the cupola on the tank. No. Armor's not being touched at all. I don't know, man. Like, these buffs and nerfs are just... We'll have to see how it goes. The T95 is also being reduced. It is being decreased, the T95's view range, to 360 meters instead of 380 meters. And it's increasing the reload from 18.3 to 19 seconds. And the aim time as well. I don't know why they're nerfing these things. Like, all that they needed to do with like the T95 and the E3 is make the lower plate an actual lower plate. Make the lower plate like the E5's lower plate, where you can pen it, but if you go a little bit too high, you're gonna, you know, run into issues. That's what they had to do in reality. As well as that, they could have just made it so that it had a cupola that wasn't, well, not a weak spot. And finally, we have new items for bonds. There is going to be the Beijing Opera, the 113 Beijing Opera, the Lorraine 40T, the T26 E3, or T23 E3, sorry, increased shell resistance, which is bond HP, and a spectacular 3D style for the 60TP, the STB1, and the E100. I believe these are the ones that you could get at Christmas at some point, like 2019 or something. I don't know. But finally, the Battle Pass Season 10, which is available from March the 1st through to May the 31st. The free vehicles are going to be the Rinoceronte, the Mouse, and the Eudes. And here's some cool 3D styles. Wonderful. You can also get free crew members that no one cares about. And you can get bounty hardening now. So it seems that we are getting bond hardening in the bond store and bounty hardening in the Battle Pass, which is cool, I guess. Can we actually see what the bounty hardening does? I just randomly went and chose a 50B rental as the first one on the list. So this is with the standard hardening and this is with the bounty hardening. So it does a little bit, yeah, a fair amount more, to be fair. Like, especially with that track health. It's very nice. So, yeah, we'll have to... I'll have to get a few of them. So, yeah, as always, there is free battle passes to choose from. I don't know the exact price of it and how much it's going to cost, but there is also new reward vehicles for Battle Pass tokens. So what you can get is this new BZ58-2, which is kind of like a 50 TP, the tier 9, but just Chinese. So it has 520 alpha, it has 250 standard pen and 303 premium pen, which I'm guessing is APCR. You can get the Kampfpanzer 07 HK, which is just a Eudes, German Eudes basically, which looks pretty good. It also has a very, very good DPM, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. You can of course get the Cobra, you can get the Lorraine 50T, and all the other ones that have previously been in the Battle Pass if you have missed out on any at all. As you can see here, these are all the prices for them. The Cobra is still, you know, one of the most expensive, but the Kampfpanzer 3 is going to be the new most expensive one out of all of them. But as you can see here, it says, please note the Kampfpanzer 3 Project 07 HK costs 27 tokens. Considering that the Gathering Collection gets you 3 tokens on top of the 21 that come from the Progression Wars, you can get very close to this vehicle in Season 10. So if you do want the Kampfpanzer 3, save all of your tokens, and then the next Battle Pass, you'll be able to get it. Which is kind of annoying, I won't lie. Like, that's kind of a bit I don't like that, but so do not spend any tokens if you do want the Kampfpanzer 3. And as you can see, by keeping your tokens, you will be able to snatch the TD soon after the next season begins. So yes, all your tokens will stay. So if you, whatever you gather in this season, right, in Season 10, will carry over to Season 11. So if you have 24 tokens or whatever, you will then have 24 tokens starting Season 11. And then obviously you just need to get 3 tokens and you have the tank. For those of you that don't actually care, I would recommend that you get as much bounty equipment as you possibly can. So you can get a piece of bounty equipment for 3 tokens, which is probably what I will do. And then after that, I'll maybe get like a Cobra or something. You know, I'll just save up my tokens to get a Cobra. I think like that's probably the best thing for me to do. There'll be some downtime from March the 1st, and people will be reimbursed with 24 hours premium time. So on March the 1st, you should get 24 hours of premium. So there you go. That is it. That is everything you need to know about update 1.20. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'll see you all in the next video.